Are you ready to transcend space and time to figure out why this movie is so corny?
It's not possible.
No, it's necessary.
Nolan did a ton of research on black holes, and they even wrote a book about the science behind the film, but I wish he did some research into flesh holes. Pink holes?
Brown holes.
Ears and butts and people.
You got a hole, I got a goal.
That one got me. Oh,
I'm getting there.
This is what I'm talking about.
This movie is corny AF, and in this essay, I'm not going to nitpick the science. I'm going to focus on characters, you know, flesh bags that burp exposition.
That sounds god-f***ing awful, Rush.
And then do dumb things, and then bad
It's
storytelling.
not fun when it's not lit.
It's not fun.
I mean, you never know what the thing's gonna be, do you?
Black hole of corn? Corny hole? Love is a cornhole?
Love is a cornhole.
Speaking of dumb things, the film is called Interstellar, so where are they going? Maybe a little interstellar travel?
1 star over?
No, wrong. They go to a wormhole to a different galaxy. Motherfucker, that's intergalactic, not interstellar. What are we doing?
I didn't realize they were in a different galaxy.
Yeah, the wormhole is a different galaxy.
God damn.
Another galaxy.
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 They really did their research on what interstellar means. Now, I don't care if a movie wouldn't pass an astronomy final, fine, but then don't go write a book about how the science of the film was amazing.
Does it pass the Bechdel test?
The Bechamel?
Yeah.
Bechamel? You still don't know the name of that. We've already made a whole skit about the Bechamel test.
I mean, I'm not good at spelling, pronunciating things.
Bechdel.
Bechdel. Yeah, that's what I said. Bechdel.
How come everyone is so bad at naming things? I've developed a moon-sized thing that blows up planets. What do you call it?
The Death Star.
That's a Death Star. It's moon-sized and it blows up planets. We're going to call it a Death Star. We've got a planet-sized thing that blows up other planets. What do you call it?
Star Killer Base.
We've got a big-ass spaceship that attacks other ships. It's kind of like a battleship in space. What do you call it?
Star Destroyer.
We've got a spaceship that will take Americans into space just outside the Earth. What do you call that?
Apollo 1.
I'm gonna go with Mercury.
Ah.
Mercury.
Aim for the stars. Eventually you'll hit London.
Okay, we've got a spaceship that fits 2 astronauts for up to 2 weeks in diapers. What do you call it?
Gemini.
Gemini.
Gemini. Gemini Cricket. That's the stupidest I've ever heard.
That's how they said it at NASA. Gemini. We've got missions to the moon. What do you call it? That's right, Apollo, after the sun god. We've got a rocket to take humans to the moon. What do you call it? Saturn.
Yeah.
Goes
Saturn
to the moon. We'll call it Saturn.
yeah,
All right. We've got a main
yeah.
character who wants to peg a salad. What do you call him? That's right, Dom Cobb. That's his name. The theme, the central motif of the film, isn't about relativity or blight cornholing society. It's about love. Love is an interdimensional mystery. Why would a human try really hard to protect another human that's not them?
Who knows?
What's that? Oh, it's the basics of evolution that your children, you want to make some copies of your DNA.
Life.
Give me that sweet vasectomy money. Nobody wants me procreating. Look at me. Look at me.
Parents who let their children get eaten by wolves don't leave a lot of copies behind. To make the point the movie wants to make, you need love to be not father-daughter. It's got to be like maybe adopted. The love of a dog.
At best, second cousin.
Second cousin? A talking dog.
Cousin fucking's all right as long as you're not procreating.
You've said that on the channel before.
Yeah, I've said it at work out loud before too,
A lot.
which definitely violates HR policy.
And I resisted the temptation for years.
What if it's a super smart dog that figured out black holes and saves humanity? Is that some corny
And
love?
you want me to f this dog?
Would you bury your bone in that backyard?
What's your humor setting, Tars?
That's 100%.
Let's bring it on down to 75, please.
For me, the best part of the film is when it's like, can we study love in the Large Hadron Collider? Because like he loves his daughter so much.
Such a j the Hadron Collider.
But he doesn't really care for his son.
Hey, how's the adoption thing coming, buddy?
I feel like all the good ones are gone.
Well, at least you get to choose yours. I'm stuck with mine.
It's a pretty intriguing mystery, Loves the shit out of his daughter. Doesn't care for Chalamet. So when you're watching the film and you can feel Nolan twisting his nips on the inside because they're inverted, because the movie is really about something deeper. It's about a dad being like, well, shit, I missed my daughter growing up and now I feel bad.
Love isn't something we invented. It's some evidence, some artifact of a higher dimension that we can't consciously perceive.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me.
In Nolan's vision, humanity understood wormholes and quantum gravity before figuring out love. Is this film Nolan just telling us he's got the tism? Does Dee Dee have autism?
Maybe.
She has dogtism. Equations make sense. Emotions, mystery. Also, he makes some pretty fuckless movies. You ever notice that? Very sexless. Inception is about going into a guy's dreams, but he never has a sex dream. Instead, he just dreams about like how his dad is disappointed in him. Imagine how weird we could have gotten with Inception with weird sex dreams.
Just like a rabbit hole of buttholes.
The only sex scene I can remember in a Nolan film is I Am Become Death, Destroyer of Puss. Makes me wonder if Nolan is like very, very boring about sex, anniversary and birthday, and that's about it.
Maybe he's asexual.
Or maybe his sex is so like out there he like can't put it on film. What do you think?
Yeah.
Which way are you going?
He's opposite. He's one end of the bell curve or the other.
Which bell end are you going with?
I'm going with asexual here.
You going asexual? I'm gonna go with he's hypersexual and he can't film it. It's like too intense. He has people film it when they fuck, and he has Hans Zimmer score it. The bois sound, that's just the sound of Hans Zimmer tapping in. Slowed down a lot. Anyway, interdimensional bookshelves. I'm going to surprise you. You know, the ending, fifth dimensional tesseract that's his daughter's bedroom. I don't hate it. I kind of like it. I feel like it's a big point of people hated it, and I was like, you're going to get weird with it. I'm all right with this.
It's just such a shift from
It's a big shift.
hard sci-fi to metaphor. All of a sudden, it's almost like the end of Contact.
You'll only be 4 years older, but over 50 years would have passed here on Earth.
Hi, Sparks.
It's like the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey, where
Yeah,
they
or
get
the
put
end
into
of
a
2001.
constructed bedroom of some sort.
In 2001, though, you get sucked in so that it's just gradual. Once you're in the end, you're just like, I will accept. This is just like, oh, I've given you science. Now process this metaphor all of a sudden.
We can only care about something if it's like a named character is being shoved in our face. If it's like a black hole, a planet's dying, or some big concept, nobody cares unless it's like, oh, it's someone's daughter. Like, and Solaris makes this point. Dr. Jabarian says, like, we go out, we explore, but what do we really want? Mirrors.
Base concept of Solaris is a lot better than the base concept of Interstellar.
Like an
Are
hour
you
and a half
complaining
shorter.
about looking at George Clooney's butt?
He doesn't get to leave the black hole. I won't allow it. You're in the black hole, you're in a black hole.
I felt the same about that.
They have the balls to kill him off.
Yeah, people's dads die.
They go through all the trouble, all the like suspending disbelief of like, yeah, he escapes the black hole so that we can reunite with his daughter. And it's literally less than 2 minutes. And then I was like, go away. Like, all right, I'm dying. See you later. And he doesn't meet any of his grandkids. They're just like there and he leaves. Like, what's this payoff for the escaping a black hole? Like, and it's also like the most obvious time dilation story. It's such a common concept, in fact, that it's not even the first film with Matthew McConaughey.
And everybody that you care about will be gone, dead and buried.
So instead, here's how I would end the film. He's stuck in there forever, but forever takes how long? It's time dilation. So, and since he can react to Murph, right? He's sending her messages. She can send messages back, but doesn't ever seem to try. She only just like listens. She's like, oh, he's sending Morse code. No, he's doing this. But she never like tries to talk back to him. But he can't see her. So like she could, if she wanted, try to talk to him, and we never explore that.
He could also say, hey, I see you. You could message back right now.
She could just write things. So here's my ending. She has a realization of like, oh wait, he can see me. And maybe she starts hooking things up. Like he can like knock books off the bookshelf and he can like make a clock hand move or whatever. Why not just a keyboard?
Do, 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 do.
Or like maybe each book on the bookshelf, it's like hooks up to a key so he can...
Or a series of Christmas lights where each light is above a certain letter.
Oh, interesting. That's a great idea. Did you
I just
invent
came
that
up with that.
just now? So sometimes she goes and tries to communicate and he's not in there.
He's busy jerking off in
He's
the black
busy
hole.
in the black hole jerking it.
I'm losing control, stick.
And maybe he can't find her for 5 minutes, but for her, it's like 30 years. So she's grandma and she's bringing the grandkids and he can see the family, even though the grandkids are little shits that think grandma's crazy. And at the very end, she figures out how to get more data from this clunky one book is one pixel kind of thing. And you know, those like pin art, you know, like 1,000 little pins.
Yeah.
She figures one of those out and he can like stick his face in it. And then like we see his face and like a weird...
We're getting into Lawnmower Man territory now.
He turns into Lawnmower Man is my ending. What do you think? No, we have to have him escape the black hole to meet her. And then she's like, fuck off, go meet your girl.
I like trapped in the black hole because it doesn't make sense to get out of the black hole. It implies the black hole is sentient.
It's a bootstraps paradox. Well, humanity will die off, but then we get help from the future from ourselves. It's like, so why didn't you just die off? It's like, oh, because we got help. Well, how'd you get help? Because we got help. Okay, all right. And he's watching her die and she dies and then he leaves and goes to an earlier part and can watch her be like a 5-year-old because he lives in there forever. For trillions of years.
Oh, that's like the Kurt
living-
Vonnegut method of viewing time in Slaughterhouse-5.
It is indeed, which I talked about in my episode on Tenet, which is the second episode I made. Episode 1 was Rise of Skywalker and episode 2 was Tenet. Those are the 2 movies so terrible it motivated me to start a YouTube channel. Or how about this? What if we just do a standard relatives are standing around awkwardly around grandma while she dies and they're eating corn? Don't ask how. Although I wrote in my notes, it says, don't ask Poe.
I'm gonna chip my teeth.
While we're rewriting, you got to rewrite the blight. They're growing giant monocultures, like we're just growing nothing but corn everywhere. And it's like,
that's how you end up with a blight.
you got to diversify. Well, a lot of different crops.
Yeah,
so
you
the
gotta-
virus doesn't spread. At one point, Cooper, Matthew McConaughey, and he's like walking into NASA and they have like clean room stuff where they're trying to grow crops. And they just let a blight covered farmer walk in. Like how? We need a better reason why you can't grow food on Earth. Nuclear war.
I don't know about that. That
Well-
affects a lot more than just...
We need some reason to go to a new planet. There's no way that going to a different galaxy is going to be easier to grow food there.
We don't even breathe nitrogen. Blight does, and as it thrives, our air gets less and less oxygen.
We don't even breathe nitrogen. Blight does, and as it thrives, our air gets less and less oxygen.
I think I've solved the mystery of why he doesn't like Chalamet, his son. He's a ghost in his kids' bedrooms. And how many times are you going to watch your son masturbate before you're like, all right, that's enough. Yeah, which one of these did she start humping or tickle me Elmo, you know? Which one contains shit? You guess. I have an ex-girlfriend who told me she started jerking it by humping her tickle me Elmo doll because it vibrates and goes, that tickles. And my response to her was, do you realize that in your first foray into sexuality, your first naive steps into it, you were the molester? Because Elmo don't know what's going on. He's just like,
He's not sentient. He's not
And
sentient.
you're like, yeah, you're right, it fucking tickles, and hump the shit out of Elmo. I looked this up on Reddit. Is this a common thing? Humping your tickle me Elmo? And I found a post where a girl was like, yeah, I like cut mine open and disconnected the speaker so it would just vibrate and not like make noise. I was like, this is how we get women in STEM. This is the way to do it.
That's a good answer.
My next favorite part is when he tries to tell himself from the past to stay, even though he already did that and knew it didn't work.
It says stay, Dad. Why? You're not listening. It says stay.
Aren't time travel plots easier when everyone has amnesia? So a lot of creativity, cleverness, originality comes from thinking outside the box, whereas we often reach for tropes and like, this is just how comedy works. This is how a spy thriller works. You got to come up with a villain, right? So you go, all right, British accent, mustache, talks evil like, obvious placeholder thing. And my thing is that Nolan does this too much. And it's like he's trying to make clever mindfuck movies, but then he just reaches for these tropes. It really shows in his characters. McConaughey plays Joe Cooper, who's super pilot man. He's basically Maverick. Oh, I'm gonna do a maneuver and no one else could do this maneuver because that's what space travel's about.
Look, I could swing around that neutron star.
I need to feel the air.
Why does NASA need a random farmer to be their savior for this mission? They're right about the launch. And they're like, oh, thank God you showed up. So they say that they don't have any astronauts with experience. But then later in the film, they use their VTOL SSTO chip that you can just take off and whatever. And it's like, well, if you got those, why don't you have any astronauts with experience? So here's my rewrite tip. Have it revealed later that they had the mission and it blew up and they all died.
Whoa.
Like, that's all our astronauts just died like 6 months ago. So you're on the next mission, you know? That could be a thing.
That's pretty good too. That adds tension.
Right?
Dramatic tension.
Dramatic. In any case, wouldn't you rather send someone that's been training for like a decade for this in the simulator instead of a guy who's been just farming?
I don't want to revolve. I just want to evolve.
Surely they were training somebody to be the pilot on this mission. Like, it's about to launch. Like, they had to have someone who was like, yeah, this is the guy. I guess he's in the simulator. Well, fuck you. Go sit down. We're going to put this guy in. So a farmer wanders in talking about ghosts covered in blight. And they're like, yep, put him on this. Put him on this.
This guy.
He's former NASA. And the opening of the film is about a mystery signal from a ghost. He decodes it. Oh, it's coordinates. What are these coordinates? He goes to his coordinates and he finds NASA. So a former astronaut who lives within a few hours drive of NASA and doesn't know that NASA's headquarters are there. And then they want him so bad that they're like, he's the savior of the mission.
I can't tell you any more unless you agree to pilot this craft. You're the best pilot we ever had.
Why didn't they go find him? Did they not know he exists?
And they're just down the road.
This whole subplot could have been an email. What are we doing? This hiring process is the least realistic thing in the film. And how does he get hired? Himself in the future manipulates gravity to send a message to himself in the past to get him the job interview. He's his own reference. You're not supposed to do that.
It's not Morse, Murph, it's binary. I don't know anything about you. I don't know anything about this place.
Yes, you do.
And after picking him, he basically launches straight away, and it doesn't seem like they train him at all, which might explain why he spends half the mission having things explained to him.
You skipped 8th grade quantum physics, you dipshit.
I mean, you never know what the thing's gonna be, do you?
So if we need a dumb character to be the one asking questions on behalf of the audience so we can vomit exposition at them, maybe that character shouldn't be the super awesome savior of the mission who's got experience. It's like when the CEO doesn't know how to convert to PDF. Anyway, William Shakespeare died on his own birthday, which means time is a flat circle. And you know who William Shakespeare was married to?
His own cousin.
Shakespeare's wife's name was Anne Hathaway. The first thing I noticed on rewatch, having not seen this in years, I was like, man, they did a great job casting this little girl to look like eventually Anne Hathaway. 20 minutes later, I realized she grows up to be the redhead, not Anne Hathaway. I was like, she looks just like young Anne Hathaway. You think the casting people got confused by the script? Her character's name is Brand, Dr. Brand. Her boyfriend was one of the pioneers that went on one of these one-way suicide missions. And so she spends the whole mission trying to get back to her boyfriend, but it had only been broadcasting the thumbs up for like 7 years and then stopped. So she spends the whole mission like, well, we need to get to him. That's my boyfriend. But because, you know, it's the movie, she and McConaughey are in love at the end for some reason.
Of course,
even though the whole time they were together, she's trying to get to her boyfriend. She was hoping was alive.
You try spending more than 15 minutes with Matthew McConaughey and not take your shirt off. Just try it. Just try it. Just once.
Mind-numbing, clothing-optional week-long orgies.
And then she and McConaughey don't really have any chemistry. Mostly I'm annoyed by her and she keeps crying and then giving speeches about love. But because it's a Nolan character, her main defining trait is boyfriend died, I guess. I guess you could say she's dedicated to science. Like that's her character trait. When they're on the crazy time dilation world and McConaughey's like, we got to get the fuck off of here. My daughter's going to be 50. She's like, no, I have to waddle in knee-deep water to get the data.
We're not leaving without her data.
Get your ass back to the Ranger now!
What the fuck's gonna be this data? The data's gonna be like, yeah, this planet sucks. Like that's all that's on there. So that's what a scientist character is. They're obsessed with data, but only when it's the most obnoxious time to do it. So at the end of the film, Coop is reunited with his daughter, who's a grandma now, and the whole film has built towards this with time dilation and dumb things characters do, all in service of the reunion, because love is a supernatural force to bring father-daughter back together across space and time, and after spending 2 minutes with her, he leaves. Uncut.
I mean, how much time would you want to spend?
Uncut. 2 minutes, and it's not like he spends like a week with her and we just like condense it. No, it's literally like uncut. Hey, how you doing? All right, see you later.
Didi feet on
Didi on a table. Didi on her table. And then she's like, just go get the girl. Go get that girl. And it's like, get the girl? What? The girl who was trying to get to her dead boyfriend the whole movie? How does this movie end? I don't know. We had a main male and a main female character. They're on a mission. They're in love, I guess. All right. Love's a mystery. Also, any man and woman who spend any time together stuck on like a work project, they're in love too.
I'll tell you how to make a baby.
You go.
Where?
Brand.
Also, Brand is on the future home of humanity because mission's accomplished. She got there and she's setting up a colony. And so he steals one of their little ships and goes to her. It's like, wait, she's alone? You could at any time send people to help her and they haven't? So he goes and steals like a tiny little fighter thing. By the way, he's like 130 years old or something like that. It's like, imagine like a Wright brother trying to steal the Concorde. That's kind of what that is. No big deal.
Fucking twitches.
Yeah, that's fine. I can go there. Christopher Nolan still can't name characters. He doesn't know how to do it. Our main characters are Murphy Cooper.
Murph Cooper.
Murph. Dom Cobb. Sounds like you're trying to order a salad at a sex club. I'll have the Dom Cobb. The Sub Benedict. Would you rather have the Dom Cobb or the Sub Benedict? Tenet, he just quit and went with the protagonist. And then this film, it was like, why can't people grow food? Blight. It's just Blight. You know, what's McConaughey's name? They call him Coop.
Coop. Yeah.
His last name is Cooper.
Cooper.
He gets Joe Cooper.
I kind of wanted to call him Coop, but Lois says, maybe next time.
So he wanted to name his kid Coop Cooper.
Coop Cooper.
Yeah, his wife does not allow that. And then like, does the movie know that's dumb? Like,
maybe he took his wife's name.
Oh.
Did Matthew McConaughey in the movie, did Joe Cooper and his wife get divorced?
No, she's dead because it's a fucking Christopher Nolan movie.
Oh, that's right.
Casey Affleck wanted to name his kid Coop Cooper.
Coop Cooper.
He got vetoed on that. So that's like a pretty realistic, I guess. And then he did a biopic, so he didn't have to name anybody, you know, for Oppenheimer. And then there's characters that are named like Senator's Aide. Do you remember Matt Damon's character's name in this film? His name is Dr. Hugh Mann.
Hugh Man.
If you Google Hugh Mann, Dr. Hugh Mann, let's try it right now. Dr. Hugh Mann, what comes up?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, Dr. Mann, Interstellar. They never say Hugh. He's just Dr. Mann. But I don't know if it was a joke that his name was Hugh Mann.
Maybe it's a credits joke.
I don't know. I don't know if it's in the film in any way, but according to Google, if you Google Dr. Hugh Mann, it goes to that. Is Google making fun of Christopher Nolan? I'm not sure what's going on there. Christopher Nolan needs to make a rom-com. He needs to really dig in and learn about flesh holes. You know, yeah. He's got black holes. He needs to learn pink holes.
Normal people's flesh holes.
I have a pitch for a Christopher Nolan rom-com.
Conception.
Entanglement. Alternate title. Schrodinger's box. Leonardo DiCaprio plays Dr. Orpheus, a quantum physicist who is haunted by the death of his wife and daughter. He has a son who lived, but he doesn't really care for him. He is close to a breakthrough on the problem of quantum entanglement, which can allow for faster than light travel of information, but he tries to Oppenheimer vibrate his brain to see visions of formulas and stuff. Keeps being haunted by his dead wife, become convinced that her spirit is still out there in some way, and perhaps quantum entanglement offers a pathway to reach heaven or hell. His colleagues think he's crazy. Meanwhile, in flashbacks, interwoven timelines, we see how him and his wife met. She was a theoretical exoplanetary biologist. She thinks up conditions that might be possible for planets out there. We see her giving a lecture in Dr. Orpheus. Ooh, Dr. Orpheus.
That's the main character.
We see her giving a lecture in Dr. Orpheus, watching her from the crowd. And here's the key. Because it's in a flashback, we see them when they're both 25-year-old geniuses. And so Leonardo DiCaprio gets to play opposite a 25-year-old actress. I'm all in.
Tell me more.
One possible world she calls Thanatos orbits a pulsar. Pulsars are the remnants of exploded supernovas, spinning super fast, magnetized neutron stars, and sending out intense beams of radiation. Because the planet is so close and tightly locked, the far side is an eternal night and never sees the pulsar directly, but does see the pulsar beams like auroras in space. And because pulsars are the remnants of a supernova, the system is awash in debris from the supernova, heavy elements, including exotic materials not known on Earth. After her lecture, he chats her up at the bar, and they flirt by talking about the possibilities of life on Thanatos, and they discuss how one-night stands will last forever because night is eternal. Ooh-wee.
That's what I like about one-night stands.
Cut back to present day, Leo, Dr. Orpheus' vision of his perpetually 25-year-old wife lead him to a realization. He rushes up to lab, and a breakthrough creates two particles of an exotic material nobody had thought to use yet. and the particles are quantum entangled but stable. The particles can exist in many different states, so you can communicate with more than 1 or 0. One particle vanishes.
Not just ones and zeros.
Yeah,
it's not just
beyond,
on or off.
It's beyond the binary of our current existence.
There you go. That sounds like McConaughey.
You gotta think outside the binary every now and then.
That's right.
Oh, right. One particle vanishes in a quantum soup into another dimension, and he places the remaining particle in a small device, which is a tiny little drone thing. I love when your grammar breaks down. The attempt at eloquence breaks down.
Right. It's like a thing. You get it.
I love when the weeding rebel just drops out like the bottom of a glass bottom boat, and we all just fall through. I once dropped a shit on the bottom of a glass bottom boat for all my family to look at.
You know what they say about people who live in glass houses?
They shouldn't drop shit on the floor.
They should poop in the dark. Everybody can see.
I gotta compose myself.
Sir, this is a serious Hollywood pitch.
And he places the remaining particle in a small device, which is a tiny little drone thing that has an AI and can interpret it what quantum entangled particles is doing and turn that into speech. He gets it to answer a few questions. Big breakthrough, but then he asks, what's the name of the planet where one night stands are forever? Why flashback to them meeting? And the answer comes back from the quantum realm, Thanatos. Thus, he's communicating with his dead wife and has access to quantum heaven? And then crying, asks his dead wife, what's in the future? Is he ever going to be happy again? He asks. Just then, his AI particle thing.
You got a better name for it? It's gotta have a cool little name.
I mean, it's gotta be something better than fucking 3rd grade level, right?
AI particle thing. Well, what do they call it? TARS is the robot in Interstellar, right?
Just then, his AI particle thing takes off. Flying out of the lab, he gives chase as it flies into the women's room and jumps up inside a woman
who was peeing. Jumps right up in her. Do you see where this is going?
And he comes running in and has a meet cute in the woman's room, but that's told a 25-year-old woman.
25.
And it's awkward. It's not what it looks like. Let me explain. You said it drowned up.
Can I get another reading of that? I don't know that YouTubers are hearing what you just put down there.
You sent a drone up my pussy? It's not what you think. Classic. Her name is Dr. Ellie Schrodinger, and that her pussy is now a quantum paradox of love. If he gets in her pussy and gets a quantum entanglement thing, then he might get the answer that he will never be happy again, or that he will be, but if he never gets up in that pussy, he will never know. They struggle with whether he should ever know the answer. But here's the twist, and there is a twist. They decide that they should collapse the wave and function and open up Schrodinger's box and figure out what's up with that pussy. And we show it. We show all of it. In IMAX, 70mm with Hans Zimmer vibrating everyone. And during it, we intercut with shots from the night ski of a pulsar planet. Night sky of a pulse. I mean, night ski seemed like.
Did I spell it wrong or did you read it wrong?
Of a pulsar planet. Crazy. Super aurora stuff. Mixed with squirting. Back and forth. Space. Bam! Supernova explosion. Silence. Watching the night sky from a pulsar planet in silence. Then slowly pan down to show a mass of people. Are they ghosts? Astronauts? Is this real? Across the sea of faces we fly, but still we see his dead wife. Then all of the people look down from the sky, and they're all staring at us. Camera swivels, and they're all looking at a spaceship. As it lands, the door opens. Leonardo DiCaprio steps out. Credits. During credits, all goes to shawarma.
So what do you think of Schrodinger's box? My Christopher Nolan rom-com pitch.
I'd watch it, but only in a theater I can jerk off in.
You can jerk off in any theater.
That's a good answer.
I mean, that's true, but...
You don't gotta whip it out. You gotta see it.
Yeah, I gotta see it.
You gotta look at your own wiener for it to work.
It's no fun if I'm not seeing the action.
Okay. Okay, it's time to be positive. You wanna be positive? I'm gonna tell you things about the film I liked. Plan A, Plan B thing, I kinda like that. Oh, that was pretty good. We're gonna bring all of humanity to this new planet. Plan B is, well, we've got all these eggs and sperm or whatever. We'll like How do they make the babies? I don't know.
I'll tell you how to make a baby.
Oh, it turns out plan A was just the farce. Plan B was the real thing the whole time. I kind of like that. I thought the robot, pretty cool.
I like the robots. I'm a big fan of the robot.
A monolith robot. There's the Apollo denialism, the Apollo program. That didn't really happen. The score is great. They use like church organs, and they really went and recorded giant fucking ass church organs, and you can hear them breathe. That's what musicians say about an organ. You can hear it breathe, and it's like about space. You go to 2001: A Space Odyssey. What can you hear at the end? And you just hear. I mean, the black hole, obviously, is super cool. This is one of the first times we've ever seen a black hole demonstrated in such a way. And
you've never
really
seen Disney's Black Hole?
I saw it the other night as a terrible score. So fucking repetitive.
But how great are the robots?
They are like R2-D2, but cartoonified with googly eyes. They're terrible. It was awful robots. Like every 2 seconds it does the same little thing. Like, what the fuck? It's so annoying.
He definitely has a much different artistic style than any of those. Even when Dennis Villeneuve is like...
Dennis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
You're lucky I even knew who you were talking about. Yeah, Dennis Villeneuve.
Timothy Chalamet gives an incredible performance in this film. Firstly, I'm assuming after you saw him in Interstellar from 10 years ago that you realize what a terrific...
He's the muad'Dib.
This one.
I'm not smoking in your house. It's just for effect. I swear.
Did you know that Matthew McConaughey has a brother with a stupid name? Do you want to guess what it is?
Venus McConaughey.
I'll give you some options.
Okay.
Is Matthew McConaughey's brother's name Turbo McConaughey?
God.
Rooster McConaughey? Booster McConaughey? Or Cocky McConaughey? What does everyone call him? You can look him up.
Rooster
McConaughey is correct. Yeah. He has a son. What is his son's name? Do you want to you think you just know it? Rooster McConaughey's son's name? You can intuit it?
Rooster the second.
Is it Coors McConaughey?
Ooh.
Heineken Colt McConaughey?
Eesh.
Miller Lite spelled with a Y? Or Michelob Ultra McConaughey? Which one's the real one?
I think it's Coors. But
wrong.
The Heineken one is...
Wrong.
What? It's not Miller Lite with a Y.
Miller Lite with a Y.
Oh, no.
And he has a daughter. What's his daughter's name?
What's the...
It's another alcoholic something.
I'm trying to think of other beers that rednecks drink.
It's not a beer.
Oh, it's not a beer.
Something else.
That's right, because girls don't drink beer. Vodka McConaughey?
It's a drink, not a liquor.
Oh, Cosmopolitan.
You're on the right track there. Margarita.
Oh, yeah, that's the trashy trailer park drink.
What's the trashy trailer park version of a margarita? What's the recipe?
Tequila and squirt.
Squirt?
Yeah.
All right. And to be clear, I don't hate Nolan.
And I don't hate Batman.
It's like your kids are Bart and Lisa. You expect Bart to get C's. But if Lisa gets a B+, you're disappointed. Nolan is Lisa Simpson cranking out B+.
This one needs to wait. What did you do?
If only he could turn up his hearing aids and let his script be like 11% less stupid, and maybe find a writer to help you punch up the talking flesh bags a little bit.
It's not possible.
No. It's necessary.
I will use as a counterpoint to this film, the film Arrival.
Yeah, I love Arrival.
Film Arrival. I also love
Arrival's really good.
Arrival is a superior film in almost every way, except it has fewer explosions. A lot of you are out already. There's no super pilot man, no Maverick doing 6 flybys. But it accomplishes in under 2 hours what Interstellar takes 7 years to not do. It gives you something to think about and the time in which to think about it. And it does so while smart characters do smart things, never stooping to plagiarizing Event Horizon. It has timeline mindfuckery. It has a big twist, which totally changes the film on rewatch. The only flaw with it really is that it relies on Amy Adams looking no different when she ages 20 years. But in Arrival on rewatch, you see the film very differently, and it adds to it. In Interstellar, the twist, when you watch it again, kind of makes it worse. You're kind
know
of
what?
like, why are you being so stupid?
All my coworkers think I'm 26.
How old am I, Internet? How old is he, Internet?
So if I get to 46,
This is
then you can give ABMs that pass.
So if you get to 46 and people still think you look 26, Arrival is a better film.
I need to be fucking studied.
And without an antagonist who delivers a Bond villain monologue.
I did love the Bond villain monologue from
You
Matt Damon.
like the Bond villain monologue.
I love a good Bond villain monologue.
There is a moment.
Yeah, it's just a trope that I actually love.
Explain yourself.
If I ever get caught doing a bad thing at work, I just
you give a monologue about it.
I just stand there and be like, you know what? You got me.
9-8. Don't be late.
But what are you gonna do about it?
So in Interstellar, the twist makes the film worse on rewatch because you're watching a supposedly super smart guy ignore obvious clues. It's not that he thinks this ghost isn't real, because the ghost gave him the coordinates for NASA.
And he went there.
And he went there, and they were giving him a mission. And then the ghost is like, stay, and he leaves anyway. But then when he realizes it does have supernatural power, he just abandons it. And also, NASA doesn't seem interested in it. And then when he falls into the Tesseract, what does he do? The first thing he does is he sends the message stay to himself, even though he received it earlier and ignored it.
If I died today, it might be one of the best days of my entire life.
We can arrange that.
Yeah.
Or let's spend 3 minutes figuring out which planet should we pick, and then pick the worst fucking planet. And again, characters who should be smart just have to be dumb for 20 years to make the plot work. Perhaps the best illustration of the stark difference between these films is the kangaroo scene.
If they come up to you, you can put your in their pouch.
I have to explain to a room full of men whose first and last question is how can this be used against us?
Kangaroo.
What is that?
In 1770, Captain James Cook's ship ran aground off the coast of Australia, and he led a party into the country, and they met the Aboriginal people. One of the sailors pointed at the animals that hop around and put their babies in their pouch, and he asked what they were, and the Aborigines said, kangaroo. It wasn't until later that they learned that kangaroo means I don't understand.
In the theater, we're watching it, you and I, and she tells us the apocryphal story, and I'm ready to be like, that's apocryphal, that didn't really happen, and like that's a famously not true story. And then Amy Adams turns to her Jeremy Renner and is like, that's an apocryphal, that didn't really happen. I was like, see, the movie's smart. It's a smart movie. It knows that I know that. Yeah, that's not true, but I just told the general that because he's dumb and he'll believe it. I'm like, all right.
You're the arbiter of...
I am the arbiter of truth and smartness. This scene in Arrival is a metaphor for filmmaking, because you got to take your point and boil it down to like 2 sentences so a dumb military guy will understand it.
It's a good story.
Thanks. It's not true.
So I'll give him the baby's version of the story and put the more detailed story in the footnotes. Interstellar is a film where the smart person packages a bullshit story to make a point to an audience it talks down to like they're a child. And then the children clap because now they think they understand quantum physics. But as Richard Feynman once said, if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics. But he also understood people and not just black holes, because Richard Feynman also said, physics is like sex. Sure, it may give some practical results, but it's not why we do it.
All right.
All right.
Now my Ringo dick has shriveled up into my body and I can't perform.
Oh, yeah. I got all the time in the world, baby. You know, what is time? It's
yeah. See, that's good. That's good. It's like half California, actually. Jake. It's all about squeezing into the middle while you do it.
No, you're done. That's the end of the motion. I beat you.
Say for the record, I'm not taking either one of you to the ER for stitches.
I beat you. Hey, I got fake blood.
We see. Our space-time will look flattened, like a single sculpture.
We got fake blood. We don't need no real blood.
We don't need real blood.
Any blood we lose, we can replace real easy.
It? How flat can you make it? You go to the gym.
Come on. You go to the gym?
You can flatten it more than that.
Come on, I did 10 push-ups.
Yes. One motion. How flat? That is a cheat.
Oh shit, that's a good one.
She cheated, but she did win. It wasn't one smooth motion, but you did win.
That was one smooth motion.
I disagree on the smoothness of the motion.
You're forgiven for thinking I know.
But you won. You did win.
Cock ring is a flat circle if you're pushing real hard.
What if you're not pushing hard? Isn't a cock ring always a flat circle?
No, it's the 3-dimensional circle. That's the whole fucking point, you dipshit.
You know what the difference is between hams and cock?
It's all about perception.
Week-long clothing optional orgies. And I'm like, what's a clothing optional orgy?
Mind-numbing clothing optional week-long orgies.
That's so you can like go to work and come back?
Oh, I like this.
Snip it and see, baby.
Snip it, rip it.
Life is a game that plays us.
I don't think that man can love.
Yeah, this is going straight to the deleted scenes.
God damn it, I love a flour tortilla. This is really gonna fuck up my burrito problem.
Most amplitude collapses are accompanied by a phase flip. It depends exponentially upon an activation energy E as the diffusion constant D approaches T sub N.
I don't know about that, Conan.
My life is a road, man. I need to keep moving.
He was cutting our lawn for us.
Every horrible detail is true.
He's putting his pants on now. He's shooting Larry. It's not a cap gun. I see blood. He's shooting Larry. I call the police.
Keep coming. Ah!
Yeah, I'm in a new biker gang. I'm a lady rider.
What does it mean to be a lady rider?
Ride ladies.
I mean, did this belong to a lady who rode a bike, or
I
is
did
this...
find it in the women's section, yeah.
I think that answers my question. Well,
Yeah, I don't want to drink out of anything that's been near my cuttings.
My cuttings.
There's just like loose shards of metal floating around your house now.
Interstellar's great.
Yeah, whatever.
You don't like Interstellar?
No. That one gets better every time you watch it.
Let's sit that one out.
I'm interested in an experiment of taking people back to where they were conceived.
Oh.
Interstellar sucks!
We're leaving.